Hello guys, today we will be making muffins. Muffins are a great form of hospitality and are part of both British and American cuisine. Without further ado, let's get started. The first thing you want to do, of course, is wash your hands. Doing this helps prevent cross-contamination, so make sure you scrub every part of your hands thoroughly. Next, wipe down the surface you will be using. This is your food contact surface, and it needs to be both cleaned and sanitized before starting your recipe. Here, we will be making our streusel using 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 cup brown sugar, half cup flour, and a half a stick of butter. Put all of these ingredients into a bowl and mix your dry ingredients first till they're all equally incorporated. After that, add the butter. Make sure the butter gets fully coated in the sugar and flour mixture, then continue mixing and kneading till you get a crumbly texture that looks like this. Once finished, cover it with plastic wrap and place it in the fridge. For this part, we are going to look at our recipe book. The yield for this recipe is about 5 jumbo muffins, so I'm multiplying the recipe by 3 so I can make 15. Once again, I'm using mise en place to keep everything organized. We have 2.5 cups flour, 1 cup sugar, 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of baking soda and half a teaspoon of salt. We're going to combine all of these dry ingredients into our bowl. And it's very important that you mix all this till it's equally combined so there's no uneven spots, and so you can make sure that baking soda and baking powder are all evenly distributed. Now we are moving on to the wet batter. We are going to start out with 1/4 cup of sour cream. This will give acidity and make it smoother, and 2 large eggs. As you can see here, once again I'm doing more because I'm doing triple the recipe. Wash your hands once again to avoid getting salmonella from raw eggs. Next, you want to whisk these together till you get a homogeneous mixture. Remember, put those eggs and sour cream back in the fridge so they don't stay in the temperature danger zone for too long. Next, for our wet batter, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. I like the sweetness this adds. And another 2 tablespoons of oil. This will make sure your muffins will stay moist long after. We're going to give that a little stir, and then we're going to have half a cup or 1 stick of melted butter. This also helps with moist and it keeps them fresh. And this last ingredient is a cup of buttermilk. The acidity in buttermilk's going to leave our muffins nice and soft and moist. Make sure you scoop out anything remaining. Start stirring this mixture together, and I would recommend using a whisk for this portion. I end up switching from my spatula. And you just want to mix until everything's evenly distributed and incorporated. After that, we're going to get our dry batter now and our wet batter. Pour one another, make sure you scrape that bowl, and just mix with just a spatula. You only want to mix until the flour is no longer visible. You don't want to keep mixing until you get something that's absolutely smooth. You want it to be a little lumpy, because if it's smooth, it's likely overmixed, and you don't want that. Now you can see here, I'm dividing my batter equally into 3 bowls. So I weighed bowls earlier, so I knew how much to put. Once again, you can skip this part, but I'm doing this because I want 3 different flavors. In the first bowl, I'm adding chocolate chips for some chocolate chip muffins. The second bowl, I'm doing frozen blueberries to make blueberry muffins. In the last bowl, I'm leaving plain for now to make cinnamon stout ones. This is me adding the streusel to the blueberry muffins. I already made the chocolate because my phone died while I was recording. And you want to put these in the oven at 425 for 10 minutes. And after those 10 minutes, put it down to 350 for 18 minutes. That higher temp at the start will give you a harder top. This is me doing the cinnamon ones now. I scooped half my batter into there. Then I added a cinnamon sugar, brown sugar, and butter mixture into it. This is basically just a streusel minus the flour. And then I added more of my batter on top after that. Now, I meant to make 5, but I accidentally made 6, so you can see here I was running out of batter. But that's one mistake I can take away to work on next time. And there, I just add more streusel to the top. These will go in the oven the same. And with those, that concludes. And these are all been done. I had a chocolate chip. It was very good, almost perfect. It was very moist, it had a nice texture, and it had just the right amount of chocolate chips added. And I really feel like on that one, there was nothing more better I could have done. Anyways, this is me cutting and spreading 2 of them. This is the blueberry. Immediately, this one was very good. It was a huge improvement from last time, most likely because by letting the dough rest with the blueberries in, they tended to thaw out a bit, and they just blended better overall with the batter. It was same good texture with that slight hint of that blueberry fruity flavor, and it was a great muffin. You know, very filling too, I gotta say. And then here is me trying the cinnamon one. Unfortunately, the swirl didn't quite work out. It was more towards the top, so you couldn't really see it, so it just looked kind of bland. But overall, flavor wasn't bad, but there wasn't much to it. If I was to do this again, I would have done less batter, then the cinnamon, then batter, then streusel. And I might have even just done streusel in the middle as well, because some of that mixture, because it had no flour, kind of turned into almost toffee-like, which is good, just not for muffins. The thing I would definitely do differently if I could do it again was the cinnamon muffins, because I probably should have just made more streusel and used that in the middle as well as on top, and I should have also used a lot less batter with the first scoop I did, because I ended up using too much, then I didn't have enough to cover it, so maybe 6 could have been possible, but still, I should have just stuck with 5 at the beginning. Although I've done this recipe many times before, I did learn a lot of new things. One thing I learned is really make sure you let the dough sit for at least half an hour, because the texture of it completely changes. It becomes kind of full of air, and once you bake it, your muffins end up so much taller than they usually be. I mean, what I probably liked most about this project was the tasting part, to be completely honest. But for sure, the least favorite part about it was the measuring and dividing of the dough, because I had a few mishaps. I was getting it everywhere, and it was not fun to clean up afterwards either, but you still gotta do it. I would definitely prefer projects for finals other than pen or paper tests, because I feel like not only with a project does it really display how to use the things you've learned, but also it gives you more creative ability to really show how you learn stuff in the way you want to, in a way you also enjoy.